this is a bill that reasserts parents' rights to information around their children when it comes to educational settings or medical settings. Surveys should not be given to students in a confidential manner when it comes to things like, do your parents get along? Do you have firearms in the household? Things like that. We're seeing this pop up all over the place. And frankly, as a parent with school-age children, that worries me. And there's a lot of parents who are very distressed about this. And they are the ones that are responsible for the upbringing of their children.
Senator Marsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. But that doesn't answer my question of interfering with or usurping the upbringing of a child. And let's take surveys out of this equation, because on that front, you and I agree. So let's just ignore any surveys. What does that look like? Give me an example so that me as a teacher and other teachers can actually know how to follow this law if it becomes law.
Rep. Kaiser.
Mr. Chairman, Senator, an example of a teacher usurping the rights of a parent to raise their children? Is that kind of like an example of that?
Senator Marsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Quote, interfering with or usurping the upbringing, end quote, of a child might be, yeah. What might that look like?
Right. Mr. Chair and Senator, I don't know if I can come up with an example just off the top of my head. We do have some guest speakers, parents that might be able to help answer that question more directly.
Mr. Chair, members, good afternoon. My name is Jill Dunnican, and I support Bill 2161. We're here today to answer a question. Whose children are they? Parents or the school system? We're here today because our schools have crossed a line, and parents are awake, and we're now pushing back. Let's start by questioning why the Department of Education, the School Board Association, GLSEN, Save Our Schools, and other organizations would oppose transparency. Their opposition to this bill has nothing to do with their alleged fear of children being outed to their own families or to teachers being too busy to share lesson plans. It has everything to do with their desire to hide their radical anti-family, anti-American agenda. If these groups believe that they are best suited to raise our kids, to raise my kid, why hide? Let them write a bill that makes their race-based, anti-police, gender confusion rhetoric A-OK in our schools. Let them ask you to sign your name to their sex ed plan that asks teachers to teach kindergartners about anal sex and masturbation. But that's not this bill. This bill is simply asking that schools be transparent and follow the law. Why is this controversial? Consider that GLSEN trains teachers to sneak their programming into every classroom. At Altadena Middle School, a teacher was recorded coaching her 6th grade class that they should eliminate gender and beware of their parents. So this matters. If GLSEN is coaching teachers to manipulate children, and then teachers are coaching children and students to distrust their parents, and then GLSEN's gender confusion advocates come to these sessions and ask you to vote no on this bill because children fear their parents as coached by their teachers, who do students need protection from? Parents who love them, or a school system determined to manipulate minors and conceal information about students' physical, emotional, and mental health? At Cocoa Palm Middle School, a teacher recruited kids to her sexuality club and then accepted a GLSEN award by bragging that she enabled 11-year-olds to drop their parent-given names and instead adopt a secret name aligned with their teacher-endorsed gender. Her actions received praise from several principals. Desert Mountain High School Sexuality Club is teaching students to stack rank themselves into victimhood groups based on skin color and sexual identity. The district now refuses to fulfill public records requests about the club. In Scottsdale, less than 50% of our students are proficient in reading and math, yet several district teachers have signed a public pledge to infuse CRT indoctrination into our classrooms, regardless of the law. They will continue to act this way until we shine sunlight on their actions. To close, I love my kids unconditionally every day, not just when they fit a political agenda or after they've been recruited to use as a poster child in a gender realignment program. So I'll ask again, whose children are they? I ask you to please stand up for our kids, stand with parents, and vote yes on Bill 2161. Thank you.
Thank you, Member.